finance world in Engage, just keep in mind that this information that we're gonna go over applies for fall 2021. Things may change for, and for the next semester. A lot may stay the same, but just keep that in mind, okay? And at the same time, that since things are so changing every day, as we say, things may change as well through the semester, but it may not be as much. Just keep that in mind, okay? All right, so the first thing is we wanted to introduce the team. So we have in our team Ebony Smith. She is the financial administrator, and she helps us with all the finance procedures for different cohorts for the Center for Student Involvement. Okay, and then we have Luz Patterson, which is me. I'm the assistant director for the finance and operations. So I oversee all the operations for the office, as well as anything that it has to do in relation with the finance department. So any questions that you may have about that, feel free to email me, okay? All right, so what are we gonna go over today? We're gonna go over how CSI Finance supports your organization. What can I spend my class funds on? Overview of the finance page. And a little bit about the budget request, purchase request, submission timeline, which you are familiar with already, co-sponsorships, deposits, fundraising process, and finally subscriptions and renewals. Okay, there's a little bit of everything, so you can have again an idea of how it works with the finance. So how we support your organization? Well, we manage your organization's accounts. We also review and approve purchase and funding requests, and we process all the payments. Anything that it has to do with payments, either for vendors or for purchases, we take care of that, okay? So how can the student activity fees be used? Well, what are the acceptable uses? We have cultural, social, and educational enrichment programs, recreational and social activities under policy guidelines, student media and publications, student organization travels within prescribed limits. Very clear, want to make sure that you understand no airfare travel is included at any point. And any other student services are acceptable. If you have any more questions about what you can do and you can in more detail, definitely you can reach out to your club consultant. But basically, things that you cannot use the student activity fees are alcohol and tobacco purchases, personal gain, donations, individual membership fees, fundraisings unless the 100% of the procedures are donated, gift cards or monetary prizes, and international travel. Okay, so those are the no-nos for when it comes to student activity fees. All right, so we're going to just dive into managing your organization finances. So how do you get there? Well, some of you may be familiar. You just go to the american.campuslabs.com/engage, and you are going to use your American University credentials. Once you do that, you will land in the main page, okay? And once you are there, you may have the view of the different organizations that you belong to. So you're just gonna click in the one that you are going to be working. In this case, we're gonna set the example that is the Center for Student Involvement. Once you click in there, you're gonna click into manage your organization right here. And this will take you to this hamburger menu, which is the one that you wanted to click so you can see all the organization tools that you have access to, okay? So you may have access to more or less depending on the club position that you have. In this case, we want to make sure, we want to focus to the finance tool, okay? So you're going to click in that one, usually it's one of the last ones. So you're going to click in that in there, and it will take you directly to the finance page. This is a very nice and easy to understand page. What you can do from here is you can go to your accounts to see them in detail. You can create requests, which is what we're going to go over later on. And from here also you can see the different requests that you have submitted and see the status of them, okay? You can see budget, purchase, and funding requests. You can search for them depending on maybe by award or the status or the stage that you wanted to. Very nice thing with this tool is that you are able to see, for example, if you have a question regarding a request and you haven't heard about from us, you can see in here if perhaps maybe that request was canceled, or if it was approved, or if it was denied, and you can check it in here, okay? And also, if you have a question of who is taking care of that request at that moment, the stage will tell you if it is in the finance department, or perhaps it is with your advisor. It will display in here, and this is helpful for you. So if you have a question again, then you can just reach out to the correct person based on the stage in here, okay? So that's when it comes to the request. Well, now we're gonna go into the accounts. So you're gonna click right here where the arrow is into accounts, and what it will take you is directly to the different accounts that the club or the organization has. Let's say you have more than one account. Some of you have the allocation account, and some have also a revenue account, so they will display in here, okay? So if you wanted to just give a quick look into how much money you have in this in each account, for example, this is a nice summary. You want to just go right here where it says under available. So it will tell you right here how much money do you have available to spend. Now, if you want to see a little more details of that in the account, so you can just click right here and it will take you to the account details. The account details, what it shows you is, again, all the requests that this organization or club has submitted, no matter if they're being denied, if they're being approved, anything, they will show up in here. It will also show the transactions that have been taking place. Transaction is when we actually pay your vendors or for a subscription that gets paid. So once that takes place, the transaction will reflect in here. So you can just click in here and it will show you all the transactions that have been taking place in your club, okay? And very important is these three different tabs: the balance, the encumbered funds, and the available funds. The reason is because sometimes it gets confused between the balance and the available. So for you, what we wanted to focus more is in the available funds, because the available funds reflects any requests that have been approved that you have submitted and it has been approved. It will reflect right here already. So it will take the money from your account, even though we haven't paid just yet your vendor. So you will know exactly how much money you have left after that request. However, the balance does not change. They only change until we actually make the transaction or the payment to the vendors or the subscription or whatever it is what that request was for. So just to be safe, just focus more in the available funds, okay? That will reflect anything that has been approved or paid or anything, it will reflect right here, okay? So that's kind of like the details of the accounts. It's very simple, just like a bank statement. That's what this really is, okay? So now, how do you actually start your process when it comes to purchase? If you want to have an event or something, well, the first step that you want to do is the budget request. Okay, so what is a budget request? Well, a budget request allows students or organizations to request funds from their respective governance board. In this case, is the AUCC. So before you submit that budget request, however, you want to make sure that you check the three following bullet points, okay? It's have you researched funding boards, funding principles. If you have done that, you can click, and that's 1 out of 3 that you can check. So you can, once you check the 3, then you can submit the budget request. So the second one is go over the CSI and your funding boards timelines, which you have gone over as well already. But we're gonna see it in a moment in a little more detail when it comes to the finance part. And also talk to your advisor. So if you have done these 3 bullet points, then you can go ahead and submit the budget request, okay? So what we're going to do very quick is I'm gonna start sharing for a moment, and we're gonna see a video of how to submit a budget request submission. Just keep in mind that a few things may not apply to this semester, but we're going to clarify at the end of the video, okay? So just bear with me, and I'm going to do this one. All right, so here is the video. And
see it starts on the purchase request. So these are purchases that your organization has already made. We have a different tutorial that explains the purchase request process. You can find that on the Center for Student Involvement website and under the budget or under the Engage tab. But we're going to focus on budget requests. So we're going to go over and click this button here, which will show these would be if you've already made a budget request. This is where your previous budget requests would populate in here. It has the status of the request, the request name, the process, the amount for that request. So this page right now basically this is basically a page that just shows a bunch of like tutorial or tests that we've done as we've done some trainings. But let's back up a second and let's say that your club decides that you want to host an event of some sort. And after you've crafted a budget, hopefully with the help of your advisor, you're going to need to request funding from your governing cohort. So that would be AU Club Council for undergraduate clubs, and it would be the Graduate Leadership Council or the Graduate Student Council for graduate students. So the first thing you want to do is check out your budget request tab, see what we've already got up here, but let's say after you've crafted that budget and everything like that, you want to create a new request for a new budget request. So we want to click this Create New Request button, and then we have three options here. We're going to click the Create Budget Request. From here, you can see there's two options. You can choose the AUCC allocation option, which is for undergraduate clubs, and then there's the graduate option, which, as I said before, is for graduate students. So let's just say we're an undergraduate club, and we're going to use this option. So we click the allocation tab here, and then this is where you're going to start populating the title for your event. So let's say we're doing, let's say we're the Happy Club, and we're having a panel discussion. So Happy Club panel discussion, and then let's say here in the description, I'm just going to put an ellipses here as a filler, but it's good to be as detailed as possible when you're writing the description. So feel free to put extra details about this in there. That is always helpful for folks in the Center for Student Involvement office to really know exactly what you're doing, and for AUCC or for the Graduate Leadership Council or whomever to be able to understand exactly what you're doing. So after we do that, we're going to click Next. And as you can see here, there's some kind of instructions about how much time is needed for your request, 10 business days in advance for simple requests, but that gets a lot longer if you're planning a really complex event. And so you would need to submit these 6 weeks prior to the event date. So these are just some things to keep in mind as you're submitting your budget request. It's always better, the earlier you can get this stuff in, the more smoothly things are going to go. So then we're going to put our name and position title. Let's say president, email address. Let's put student involvement at american.edu. And then contact number to. Okay, and then don't worry, you don't have to enter your 5-digit budget number. If you know it, you can add it in there, but no big deal. It's not one of the ones that's required, though everything that's required is marked by the red asterisk here. So we can go and move on to the next. All right, so here is a bunch of information that is going to be asked specific to your event. So you want to fill out each of these categories here. So please indicate what kind of event this is. So in this case, ours is more of a speaker or performance, so it's a panel discussion, so we can click that one. 25 live reference number or proposed event space. You should have gotten it, have already submitted, if it's an event that's going to be taking place on campus, you should have already submitted a 25 live request for reserving a room on campus. So make sure that you've done this, and once you've gotten that event confirmed, that's when you can enter your reservation number, your confirmation number that you will get from 25 Live for this specific event. Sometimes there's events that or spaces on campus that don't run through 25 Live, and in that case, you can just kind of put the proposed event space in there. But you should, in most cases, have a 25 Live reference number or a confirmation number for that. But for our purposes here, just as a tutorial, we'll just put NA. Date of the event. Let's say we're doing this in October 4th. And expected attendance, let's say we're hoping to get 50 people in attendance at the event. So it's then going to ask you if this is a complex event. So complex events, again, require a lot more planning. It has a number of different questions here for this. Let's say for our event here, it's a smaller scale. This is not going to be a complex event. We'll just click no. Is this a philanthropic event of some sort? In our cases here, no, but if it is for you, then you would click yes, obviously. And in this case, it's also going to ask here, is this a co-funded event? So is this an event that you're doing in collaboration with another student organization or a department on campus? If the answer to this is yes, you're going to want to put exactly what each co-sponsor is, the name of each co-sponsor, and how much they are committing to this event. So we are not doing, for our purposes here, we're not going to make this a co-funded event, but if it did, we would have a bunch of information here that would specify how much each is contributing to this event. All right. So after that, we'll go and hit next. And wait for the next page to load. All right. Now we got to the next one, additional information, marketing plan for this. So check all of these that are going to apply. So peer-to-peer marketing, email list, let's say Facebook. Let's say we're going to put this on Facebook. Maybe we're not planning to do all that much else. No tabling. Maybe we'll put it on our other social media accounts, so Instagram and Twitter. You are always going to want to check Engage. It's mandatory that all of your events are going to be posted in Engage. And that's great because they're going to be populated in the master calendar for the university. So anytime anybody is searching events on campus, they're going to come across your event. So you always want to make sure you have that. It's good for you. And it's also required as part of the event process. So click that too. Here you can explain a little bit more about your marketing or promotion plan. It's good to be as detailed as possible. For right now, I'm just going to make this move along a little quicker, so I'll just put a little ellipses in again. It's also not one of the required things, but again, more detail, the better. The last one here is another required one. Identify how this club experience connects to your club's mission and how this experience will benefit club members. So you can add, if there's a bunch of speakers in here that are specific to your organization's mission and stuff like that, just describe how this would fit in. And again, for the purposes of just being as succinct as possible, I'm just going to hit the ellipses and then we're going to move on to the next one. All right, some more questions. Terms and conditions. I understand that by submitting this request that I have reviewed this budget request and confirmed the availability of all necessary supplemental documentation. So we're going to click yes. I'm confirming that I have reviewed this budget request submission to confirm the accuracy of all financial information provided. Yes. And I have read and understood deadlines, policies, procedures, and processes. This is important because you want to make sure that you are very much aware that you've read the previous information about, is this a complex event? How much time in advance do you have to do this? What are all the requirements? Make sure you have paid close attention to that and that you know what the requirements are. And that you need to be complying with all that that's required here. So let's say yes for that, and let's move on to next. All right. So in this category here, or in this page here, this is where you're starting to kind of like formulate your budget for this event. So we have our budget section, that a bunch of different budget sections here: contractual stuff, food stuff, supplies. So let's say we have, for this, we're going to have a contract with these, a bunch of different contracts with these different speakers. So let's say we click the add item here, and we're going to say, This is for, you can pick a space rent. Is it a space rental that's going to cost money? Is it for talent, production services, a to-fix request of some sort, security? Let's say this one's going to be for talent. It's one of our speakers. We'll just say XYZ speaker. We can describe the speaker there. Gonna just do the ellipses again. Cost, let's say this person, we're gonna be paying $200. And then you need to make sure you upload a document here, like the contract, the professional services agreement, whatever it is that a contract that you have with the speaker that's required to be filled out. You need to make sure you upload that file. So we can go upload this file here. We can go into our desktop and tutorials here, and we're going to upload this contract for our purposes right here. So we can save that, and we've got that up here, and you can see that that contractual expense is going to populate in your working budget up here. Let's say we wanted to add food. So we have a shopping list of some sort. We're going to need food from a caterer of some sort. Let's say you have a caterer that you picked up, or it's a giant expense or something like that. You want to click those. I'm not going to do it just to save some time here, but you can add the name, the description, how much it's going to cost. Let's say we got $500 worth of food or something like that. Then we're going to upload another contract, or it could be just the shopping list, shopping cart for your the specific food that you want, or an invoice, or the not an invoice, but an estimate from a caterer for this specific thing. Then you can upload that, and you'll hit save. I'm just going to cancel out of that. But if you were to put all that information in for the food section and add that item, that is going to populate here in the food section, and you'd have $500 that would come up here if it was a $500 expense, and your total at this point would be $700. But I'm just going to keep that, keep us from going further on this, but you can see all these other different categories that you could populate. If you were doing a budget request for something travel related, if it was a conference that you were taking some students to go to, that's where you would enter those different things. So lodging, hotel, train, bus, whatever it might be. If there's stuff for off-campus events, there's all these different things that you can choose from. So I'm gonna kind of wrap things up with that section here, but you can see it's really easy to put together. After you finish that, review it, and hit submit,
Okay, so we're gonna stop here for a moment. The video. So that's just to give you an overview of how the budget requests work. The other information is not really necessary at this moment. I think Jordan wanted to mention something regarding the budget requests.
Yeah, thanks, Mary. So I put in the chat, but I just want to make sure that I say it as well to the group. So the questions are outdated, so this video is from a few years ago, but the important information is the process of submitting the budget request. So the answering the question, submitting it, is going to go to the AU Club Council. They're going to do their review and give you, if they're going to allocate you the funds or they're not going to allocate you the funds, but it's more so important for y'all to know the process of submitting a budget request. The questions that Chris was going over in the video have been updated to reflect what we talked about in the programming training a few weeks ago. And so it'll all be very intuitive with the questions. So again, if you go back and look at it, don't focus on the questions or what they're talking about, but focus on the process of it. So.
Thank you, Jordan. Excellent. And we're gonna go back to the presentation now that you're experts on doing budget requests. We're gonna see how do we do purchase requests. Okay, can you see my screen, Jordan? So good with the purchase request?
All good.
Okay, excellent, thank you. All right, so what is a purchase request? Well, a purchase request is a record of money that is being spent from your organization's account for a specific amount. So that's all what it is. It's just a record for you to keep track of your expenditure, and as well for us, and also to make sure that the transactions take place, okay? So before you submit a purchase request, have you, so there's a few questions also that you wanted to ask yourself. Meet with your advisor when necessary. You have to meet with your advisor after you have submitted the budget request. Well, please feel free to do so. Confirm the availability of funds in your account. You remember where we highlighted, this is available. So you want to make sure that the money is available there. And it usually becomes available once your budget requests have been approved. And the third one is, have you gathered all the required documents? Kind of touch up a little bit in the video, but we're just going to mention it a little bit in the, when we go to the timeline for this semester, okay? So once you do that, you answer yes to these three questions, then you can go ahead and submit the purchase request. What we're going to do, oh, sorry. Okay, so now we're gonna go over the 5-week submission timeline. You have become very familiar with it, with the different trainings that you have done. So what we're just gonna go very quick is to see how the finance part fits into this timeline, 5-week timeline, okay? So the step 1, which is the initial submission and club consultant meeting. So again, you're gonna submit the event on Engage. You're gonna submit the budget request on Engage if it's requesting funding from AUCC. And you're gonna meet with your AUCC club consultant to talk through your request. Step 2 is AUCC approval and denial and purchasing process. So AUCC approves or denies your budget request. If it's approved, the funds will be deposited into your account, and then you can submit your purchase request, okay? And when you're submitting the purchase request, you will already have either a shopping cart, an invoice, a PSA, or a draft of a contract, anything that you have submitted already when you were doing the budget request, but we need you to submit it right here again in the purchase request, okay? If the purchase request is approved for purchases, like subscriptions or items that you're getting, you will get an email of approval from the finance department. And this email will include the link for you to schedule a purchasing meeting through Zoom. So it's very important that it's not going to be in-person purchasing of items, or for the subscriptions, everything will be online as well, as we previously did it through Zoom. So the link will be in there for you to click on it. And if we need any additional information, we are going to be asked you in that email. I usually try not to cancel or deny requests just because they are not completed. I just try to reach out to you so you can give me what I need. So usually the email will mention if something was missing, okay? So then you just go ahead and schedule your meeting at calendly.com, and this may change. And this at this moment is loose pattern. Somebody may change depending on who will be helping you with that request. Okay. So step 3 is the event logistics and purchasing process. So the student event planning team works with the CSI advisor to plan logistics. In the meantime, finance department will contact the vendor to collect the finance paperwork needed. And the PSI that you have already filled up and have from your vendors will be sent for approval. And hopefully you will be able to meet with the CSI finance for purchasing. That's step 3, okay? Step 4 and 5, CSI complex events confirmations. So in this step, you're gonna meet with your CSI graduate assistant for complex events confirmations. You are going to confirm purchase delivery date and time with us, so you can pick it up. And also, we're hoping that by the end of that 5-week timeline, we will have finalized all the paperwork with your vendors, so you will be able to go ahead and have your event without any issues. After the event, complete necessary after actions. So in this one, you're going to submit the CSA event attendance form 3 days max post-event. So why is this important for the finance part? You already went over when you went through the other training, but for the finance part, it's important because for us to be able to go ahead and pay your vendors, we will definitely need you to please let us know. And the way that you let us know that the event took place is by submitting the event attendance form. At the same time, we will be able to pay if we need to pay because you were a co-sponsor for an event, so we can go ahead and do that. Or if you were having an event and somebody was co-sponsoring that event for you, well, we will be able to get the money back into your account, okay? And in that way, you will be very happy because your accounts will be up to date if we are able to take care of this file, okay? So that is the 5-week submission timeline. What we're going to do right now is we're gonna see a quick example of how to submit a purchase request, okay? So just bear with me for a moment and I'm gonna show that screen. All right, so we have here create a purchase request. The way you get in here is just when you were landing in the main finance page, you're going to create requests. And in this case, you're going to create purchase requests. All right. And if you're doing funding requests, we're going to take a look at it. After this, you're going to do creating funding requests. Okay. But let's just focus on purchase requests for a moment. So this will take you to the main page for the purchase request. In just a quick example, let's say your subject is that you are getting a speaker, okay? So what you're going to write in there is, for example, the name of the speaker. This is someone we had last year, Chanel Miller, or last semester. And you're gonna write down that this is a speaker. Or if this is a co-sponsorship for that event, so you're gonna write co-sponsorship for Chanel Miller, okay? So Chanel Miller. So that's the subject. In the description, what you wanted to do is something very similar, but perhaps just maybe with a little more details. You are going to have, for example, a speaker fee paid to who is the one that is you're getting that speaker from. Some of you may be familiar with Kepler's. We use them a lot. We get a lot of our speakers from there. So you're going to write that and the name of the speaker. Or if this is a co-sponsorship, you will write that is a co-sponsorship and with who are you having that co-sponsorship, with whom? And for the name of the event as well. Okay, so it all depends on what exactly what you are doing. What is the request about? Just going to say that this is for 5,000, just for the 50,000. Okay. Just for the sake of the example, the category in this case, if it's for a speaker, where you can select a speaker, or if you are doing some supply food, where you can just choose here food, or you have different options that you can select in here. And then you're going to select account, and in here, for those that have more than one account, so you want to make sure you select the correct one. So if it's a revenue account, then you're going to select the revenue account that shows up in there. If it's an allocation, then you're going to select the allocation one, okay? And so I'm just going to select the Center for Student Involvement, only have one, so we're just choosing that one. Then you're going to write down the pay information. In this case, it's not Miss Miller, it's Kepler. So you're just going to write Kepler. You don't need to worry about any of this other information. In here, the funding source, very important, is it coming from the revenue account or from your allocation? So let's just say it's from allocation. It's going to be paid. Usually these things are paid by check. If it's an order through Amazon, then you're just going to write on select online order. And if this is a co-sponsorship event, you're going to say yes if it is and who it is with again. And if not, then you just write not applicable. The date, you're just going to say that is 09/25/21. Just for example, this is a virtual event, you're going to write the platform, and if not, you just write not applicable as well. The vendor address, the phone, the email, or the phone number. It'd be important that you write it in here. And in here, you're going to upload again, just like you did it with the budget request, you're going to upload the file that you have, a draft contract, invoice, or anything that you have, okay? And then you just click submit, and it will come to us, and that's when we will approve it. All right, so that's just a quick, the important in here very much is that you are as clear as possible, okay? And as much information as possible is best, okay? Very good, so just going to stop sharing here for a moment. And let me just go back to the presentation. Just bear with me, please. All right, so once you submit the purchase request, we're just gonna go through the whole process of the approving and everything, and we will be good to go, okay? Now, we wanted to focus in co-sponsorships. It's another very important. A lot of you do events with other organizations. So there are two types of co-sponsorship that you wanna keep in mind, okay? And the process is different. So if you are the event organizer, so the organization responsible for the event will submit a purchase request for the total amount of the event, okay? The total. If it's 5,000 that you're paying to Ms. Miller, that's what you're gonna submit it for, okay? And we'll follow the steps previously outlined for purchase requests. An email should be sent to the financial department with the co-sponsorship information. And what should include that email? Should include the name of the event. It should attach an agreement with the co-sponsor indicating the amount that you agree that they are going to help you with, okay? And if the co-sponsorship is with another department, that email should have also the person that you've been in touch with, okay? I will not know if you don't tell me who you've been talking to in that department. Departments are big, a lot of people in there, so I need to know who is the one that you've been working and that agree that they are going to be helping you with that co-sponsorship, okay? So that is what the responsibility if you are the event organizer, okay? Now, if you are not the event organizer, but you are just co-sponsoring an event, okay? It can be with another club or another university department. So the steps are very similar, but not really. So this is how you do it. The organization that will co-sponsor the event will submit a request, okay? But it will be for the amount that they agree that they are going to be helping with, okay? For the co-sponsorship amount. That's what. So if you're telling a women's initiative that you're going to help with Miller's event with $500, well, you're going to submit the request only for $500. That's what is going to come out of your account, okay? So in that request, it should have the name of the event again and also an email. The email that is said, yes, we are helping with $500 to Women's Initiative Ms. Miller's event. So that's important. For accounting, we need backup information, so that's what we require, that paper, okay? However, if you are responsible for a specific purchase for that event, let's say you're just buying the sodas, that's to say something, okay? Or just paying for the meal for the speaker. Well, there is no need for an email agreement. You just follow the regular steps of a purchase request, okay? Don't worry about any of emails or anything because this is just a purchase request. Just write in the description that this purchase request is for this event that you are co-sponsoring. That's it, okay? So that's the two different scenarios when it comes to co-sponsorship. If it's not clear enough, don't worry, you can always ask again. It's no problem, we're here to help you out, okay? So the next one is deposits. Some organizations or clubs need to deposit checks into their accounts when you have revenue accounts, for example. So what do you need to do? Well, you're going to submit a funding request. This is something new for everyone, every organization or club. So you are going to submit a funding request. And when you're submitting that, you're going to make a copy of the check and attach it to the request, okay? Then you're going to drop the check at the CSI office. Do not drop the check if you have not submitted the request just yet. Please do this. You can make a copy then of the check and then you can drop the check at the office. And once the check is deposited, the amount, the money is being confirmed, that is being clear, the transaction will be reflecting into Engage. So I will go in their account and just gonna make a transaction that will show that the money is there and you will see it in your balance as well, okay? So that's how the deposits work. Another important part for your organizations are fundraising. Some of you do fundraising through the semester. So mandatory student activity fees may not be donated to non-university organizations. A recognized student organization may sponsor a fundraising program for the purpose of supporting a non-organization, university organization, but only the net profits may be used for that contribution, okay? Only what you got out of that fundraising. the organizations cannot make a profit out of it. However, if the organization or club organize a fundraising without using the student activity fees, okay, so that you decided to do some fundraising, but you're not asking for any funding from AUCC, then those funds may be, or those proceeds may be used as revenue, okay? So what are the steps? Well, again, you're gonna submit a purchase request. So in that way you can get your money inside your account. An ACH deposit or drop the check by our office, depending on how you're getting that money. Something that is very important is that cash is not accepted. We are not taking cash at any moment, only checks or direct deposit. That's the only way that we can get the money for you to be deposited into your account. Once the ACH has been confirmed, again, your funds will be deposited into your account. However, if the proceeds will be donated, there's an additional step, and is that now you have to submit a purchase request, okay? That is after you have the money has been cleared and you know that it's in your account. Why is that important? Well, because we need the funding request is to get the money into your account, so you know you have it in there. But now the purchase request takes the money out. So it's an in and an out. That's why both of them are very important in this process. And it has to be a record that, yes, we are giving this money to XY organization that we chose. And that's why we were doing this fundraising. So that's the additional step that you would have to do when it comes to if we're donating that money, okay? So here is just the ACH example that is supposed to have the name and the bank information and the account information. So whoever you did this fundraising with, they can forward the money to American University and we can claim it and deposit it into your account, okay? This is when it's ACH. Don't worry about memorizing or anything. We will send it to you if you need it, okay? Now, we're just gonna go very quick, just like we did with the purchase request. It's very similar. I just wanted to show you how to get to it so you are familiar with it. So just bear with me, I'm gonna share it as well. Okay, so we were here with in the main page again. So now what, instead of when we go to create requests again, but now instead of purchase, we go to funding request, okay? So the funding request is just a similar information in here, okay? So it's nothing really major. It's just, again, the subject, again, the information that the event that you're planning, okay? The description, so in the description, for example, if this is a check that is the proceeds that you're going to get from here to be donated, what you're gonna say that this is to be donated so others might eat. That's what all of this is about, okay? And you wanna make sure that you also write down the name of the event that you're having. The requested amount, so let's say the total that you got from that fundraising was 500, so that's what is going to be deposited into your account. Again, similar in here. And in here is what you're gonna choose if it's allocation or if it's revenue, and the rest is all the same. Where is the money coming from? The email, phone number. This doesn't really apply to you. This is for another organizations. So you're just gonna put not applicable. And in here is where you're gonna upload the check, okay, that you have. All right, this is where you would want it to make sure you upload it. And that's it. That's just all how you create a funding request. Again, you just submit it and we will take care from there. Once after that, you can bring the check to us and we will go ahead and deposit, okay? So that's just how the funding request is. Now just bear with me again, sorry. Some different stuff to share. All right, so just one last thing, and it's the subscription and renewal guidelines. Some of your organizations or clubs have yearly, some few monthly subscriptions. So please, we want to make sure that you keep into consideration the following steps, okay, or the following requirements that we're asking you to have to do. Keep a log of your organization subscriptions, including the renewal dates, okay? If you have that, it will be very helpful for you and for me. Verify that the payment information is up to date. For example, check if when the time for the renewal is coming up, the credit card may be expired. So if that is the case, please email us and let us know. So we will just go into your account and update the credit card information, okay? Once your subscription is renewed, submit the purchase request as soon as you get the email renewal. You always get an email showing you or telling you that your subscription has been renewed, and it's attached an invoice in there. So I need you to please, so that's just let you know that something happening to your account. Okay, money is coming out. So I need you to submit the request right away. Please do not wait to be contacted by your advisor or by the finance department to submit the request. Okay, it's your obligation, your responsibility to do that. And if you need any to make any adjustment to your subscription, perhaps you need to upgrade it or something. Well, in that case, you before the renewal, you want to make sure that you contact your advisor first. Okay, I cannot approve a purchase request for a subscription that is going to be upgraded or anything. We can only do regular renews for same amounts and things like that, but not upgrades. Upgrades only contact your advisor first. Okay. Very good. So that's kind of like the steps for the subscriptions. We really, really will appreciate it if you can help us out with that to keep your accounts up to date. We will be happy, and I'll be happy too, because your accounts will be looking up to date. You see, so it's very helpful for me as well, because I need to, I have responsibilities with the credit cards to reconcile them. But if I don't have information from you guys, it's going to be very difficult for me to do so. And I'm going to be emailing you, or Jordan will be emailing you. So please help us out with that. And I think that's it. Any additional information that you may need, you can find it in our website or in Engage under the Center for Student Involvement. We have different forms in there that you may need it, like the PSA, for example. You can find it in there. I have uploaded the updated one, so you will see it in there. And any other form that you may need, you will find it in the Center for Student Involvement, okay, in Engage. However, if you have any additional questions, you couldn't find something, or just any question, please email us. You can email the studentinvolvement@american.edu is our general email. You can email me, or you can always email me and Jordan as well. That would be fine. However, we have a very good website. One of our advisor, Rod, he keeps them up to date. So if you have questions, if you want to know anything about the Center for Student Involvement or how things work, even the links for this training or different other trainings are there. So please feel free to go in there in american.edu/OCL/student involvement. Okay. And we also have the frequent asked questions as well in there. And a lot of your questions may be answered just by looking into that section. Okay. And that's it. I want to thank everyone.